Let's count down for this, the 2,263rd day since the previous president, animal-human hybrids, previous president declared mission accomplished in Iraq. I'm Keith Olbermann. I don't know what made me think of that. Good night and good luck. And now with the latest episode of Dick Cheney's Got a CIA Secret with her special guest, Colonel Larry Wilkerson. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith. I have to tell you, I've always been terrified by the idea of mermaids, so you can make light of this.
All right, no, let's take 15 seconds and explain this to me.
Mermaids are always just one of those things that I felt like there's something deeply, deeply terrifying about them. Everybody else thinks they're mystical and nice. I always felt threatened by the idea of mermaids. I'm with Brownback on this. Thanks, Keith. All right, well, most awkward segue ever. But we begin tonight with what is starting to feel like the Jeff Sessions show, even though it's supposed to be the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Sonia Sotomayor. In the absence of any real drama, suspense about whether or not Judge Sotomayor will actually be confirmed to the Supreme Court, it sort of seems like an unavoidable conclusion that she will. The hearings are instead turning into a showcase for the Senate rather than a showcase for her. The Republican opposition to Judge Sotomayor is still steering largely clear of her judicial record, except for one case Republicans have characterized as a pro-affirmative action ruling, and they're criticizing that one a lot. Beyond that, the opening statements and questions from the committee's 7 Republicans, and particularly from their leader, Jeff Sessions, have been much more revealing of the political beliefs of Republican senators than they have been of the judicial beliefs or temperament of this nominee, who you will be surprised to hear is not a person named Miguel Estrada.
We would have picked Miguel Estrada.
Miguel Estrada would be a U.S. Circuit judge today.
I said I had a letter earlier from Miguel Estrada.
He is a brilliant, universally respected lawyer.
He was a Honduran immigrant.
I'm puzzled why Mr. Estrada keeps coming up.
And we'd all have voted for him.
The Miguel Estrada case.
I don't think anybody on that side would have voted for Judge Estrada.
Mr. Estrada is not the nominee here.
No, Mr. Estrada is not the nominee. Miguel Estrada was rejected by the Senate after George W. Bush nominated him for a federal judgeship, like lots of other people were rejected by the Senate after being nominated by George W. Bush. Dozens of people, in fact. So why is he the one they keep bringing up? Among all the many failed George W. Bush nominees, what is it about Miguel Estrada in particular that warrants so much comparison from the Republicans of him and Sonia Sotomayor? A mystery. Maybe this next revealing moment from the hearings today will provide us a clue.
The circuit voted, and you voted not to reconsider the prior case. You voted to stay with the decision of the circuit, and in fact, your vote was the key vote. Had you voted with Judge Cabranes, himself of Puerto Rican ancestry, had you voted with him, you could have changed that case.
I'm sorry, what's relevant about Judge Cabranes in this decision?
Judge Cabranes, himself of Puerto Rican ancestry.
Do you see the important point that Jeff Sessions has just drilled down to here? It's very subtle.
Judge Cabranes, himself of Puerto Rican ancestry.
Okay, you see? Judge Cabranes is totally Puerto Rican. So is Judge Sotomayor. And yet, she did not vote the same way as Judge Cabranes, the other Puerto Rican. You see what I'm getting at here? Yeah. When Jeff Sessions was himself trying to become a federal judge back in 1986, he at the time, in those confirmation hearings, admitted to calling a white lawyer a, quote, disgrace to his race, because that lawyer represented black clients. Now that same Jeff Sessions is the Republican Party's standard bearer on who's qualified to be a judge or not. And he's making very clear what he sees when he looks at a nominee like Judge Sonia Sotomayor. What about her most predicts how she would vote as a judge in his mind. Who he sees as her peers, the appropriate people to compare her to.
the Miguel Estrada case. I said I had a letter earlier from Miguel Estrada. He was nominated by President Bush. Had you voted with Judge Cabranes, himself a Puerto Rican ancestry, had you voted with him, you could have changed that case.
There was a moment today that was not just about race, though. Senator Sessions did go out on a limb today and suggest that Judge Sotomayor could also be compared, unfavorably of course, to another female judge. And in so doing, we got today's inadvertently revealing Republican moment number 3.
I believe in Judge Cedarbaum's formulation. And she said, and you disagreed, and this was really the context of your speech. And you used her statement as sort of a beginning of your discussion. And you said she believes that a judge, no matter what their gender or background, should strive to reach the same conclusion, and she believes that's possible. You then argue that you don't think it's possible in all, maybe even most cases.
One rule of thumb when you're choosing someone to be your ally against somebody else: make sure your chosen ally agrees with you and isn't, say, sitting in the hearing room in support of the person you're trying to use them to attack.
My friend Judge Cedarbaum is here this afternoon, and we are good friends, and I believe that we both approach judging in the same way, which is looking at the facts of each individual case and applying the law to those facts.
In fact, Judge Sotomayor's one-time mentor and longtime friend, Judge Miriam Cedarbaum, was in the hearing room. She then tag-teamed that attempted Jeff Sessions smackdown by telling the Wall Street Journal, quote, "I don't believe for a minute that there are any differences in our approach to judging, and her personal predilections have no effect on her approach to judging. We'd both like to see more women on the courts." Which I guess means that Senator Jeff Sessions should stop quoting that particular judge as a means of attacking Judge Sotomayor. The Sotomayor hearings are expected to go on for at least 2 more days, which may or may not mean 2 more days of Republican Party public implosion on the issue of race.